What's up, my comic book brothers and my comic book sisters from another mister? Today we're going to do a comic book review of Spawn, issue number 316, brought to you by Rated Comics. Let's get to it. Hidden away from the world, Omega Spawn has been amassing power and prisoners. Trapped on Earth, he seeks a way to go back to the stars. Unfortunately for him, Al Simmons has arrived to stop his ass. But will the help of former enemies and unbeknown behemoths be enough to stop Omega and the oncoming plague? So we begin this issue with this monitor, and this monitor is indicating these three red dots, which indicate the presence of Spawn, Medieval Spawn, and Omega Spawn. But this unknown blip, this white unknown, is what it is, and it's the fourth pop-up that came out of nowhere, and there wasn't supposed to be a fourth, but here it is, crawling on all fours as the creature slowly moves into the daylight. Parts of his body even pour across everything in its path, spreading itself in every direction at once, like some black inky tar, or maybe more like some animalistic disease bent on consuming its prey, its host, like some kind of plague spawn. And though a barrage of sonic waves fill the air with a pitch of 10,000 decibels, this thing seems unfazed by it. The sun rays appear more problematic, but only for a moment, as this plague quickly adapts. The same cannot be said for either Spawn or his medieval counterpart. Both Spawn and Medieval Spawn feel like their heads are about to explode as the pressure from the sound waves intensifies like a swimmer going deeper in the water. They scream in pain. But Omega Spawn's like, let's end your pain right freaking now. As Omega Spawn rears back, the plague lurches and bares its teeth, summoning a power that stops Omega's fist dead in its tracks before crushing its two spawns. Omega churns, spotting this new adversary not far away. How many of you hell spawns have come to this fucking place? I added that part in there. I guess it was more dramatic, but anyways, it just slipped out. The black creature doesn't move. Instead, it gives an intense glare, signaling to Omega it's unafraid of him. It grows spikes out of his back, letting him know I'm ready to throw down. The intensity grows louder like an animal caught in some painful hunter's trap. Then its chest heaves as it draws one last gasp of breath, allowing the sonic waves to be only more dominant. It unleashes a sickening shriek, the sound of a soul tortured, unwilling to suppress its pain any longer. A sound that has the same excruciating effect on Omega as the sonic waves have on Spawn and Medieval Spawn. Then the scream doubles in ferocity. Dude, somebody's head's about to explode and some of these ears need to be bleeding right now. And as this scream intensifies, it's causing shockwaves to shake the entire island and sending riptides shooting out into a 20-mile radius. Stop, says Omega Spawn. I can give you power enough to rule at my side, to dominate this planet, but not if we're enemies. We crave the same thing, to be their masters. Suddenly, everything goes silent. What is that? Is that a hell spawn, says Medieval Spawn, as they kind of recover from getting their ears, like eardrums all messed up. Whatever it is, says Spawn, this island and Omega, I think it just shut them down. And Medieval Spawn's like, I've never seen one like that. Me neither, says Spawn, but Omega said hundreds fell through the time rip, and we don't know whose side he's on. As they turn around, Medieval notices that these soldiers are flanking them, and he tells Spawn to get behind them. They got weapons, and even though Medieval Spawn is newly released into this world, he's seen the kind of damage that this modern warfare can cause. They blast off. Though weak, Spawn knows he has to act as he summons his cape to reappear. We need cover. You're not ready for that kind of power yet. I'll follow your lead, says Medieval Spawn as he creates a necroplasm shield to ricochet the bullets. Now, as Spawn and Medieval Spawn are dealing with the soldiers, we go back to Omega Spawn and Plague. And originally, Omega's initial plan was to only imprison Spawn in his desire to use Spawn to help interrogate his sworn enemy, Cagliostro. He still doesn't know how Medieval Spawn found them or what this other Hellspawn wants, but he knows the one thing standing in front of him is different somehow because all spawns have eyes of green. This is the first time he's seen anything looking close to a Hellspawn not having an emerald stare, green eyes. More enraged to Omega, he doesn't know why it's here. It's almost as if this spawn has its own agenda and it doesn't align with Omega and it's pissing him off. What now, says Omega? You're going to assert yourself hoping to wash away your past failures? You're a reject. That's why hell threw you out and why heaven won't touch you. and hoping Plague will take the bait, all he does is hiss his response. Say something, says Omega, and Plague does it, which only infuriates Omega even more. You notice how he's growing more horns out of his head, like a necroplasm horn? As Omega is growing these horns out, he continues to say that this war has begun and not all of us can coexist. Just a few of us, the strongest of us, will survive. You loners will be the first to go. Plague Spawn straightens out his body like an act of defiance. At the same time, Omega, wounded as he is, begins transforming his horns into a pair of battering rams. Then he charges full force, destroying everything in its path, everything except his intended target, who simply just levitates away, floating like some soulless god, taunting his enemy below. And what Omega does is he underestimates his opponent. Then again, Plague Spawn underestimates Omega too, because he wasn't ready for the quickness, and that speed is what snatches Plague Spawn in midair. Do you hear that? As he's squeezing him, that's your bones being crushed by your boy, because with my Boja and Satan both dead, only one Spawn will take over Hell's empty throne, and whoever lays claim to that title will also rule Earth. I intend to be that king. Omega might have won this, but Plague Spawn is not going to go down, so he impels it with spikes growing out of his symbiote, and he resists that claim. Now, as Spawn and Medieval Spawn are taking care of business over there, Spawn sees Omega sustain another injury. He also sees the giant reacting differently than when he received his other wounds, and that reaction doesn't bode well for anyone. Omega's powering up, something is about to happen, and Spawn's instincts are correct as Plague is tossed aside. It starts small at first, then Omega channels as much power as his weakened body can harness, his energy building in intensity until this explosion happens at the end, and that is the end of this issue of Spawn, issue number 316. I'm gonna leave a little meat on the bone with you guys because there's a little backstory after this of Jessica Priest at base. If you guys do decide to purchase this issue, support the art, support the industry. Link in description if you wish to do so. This is a gangster read, and personally, in my opinion, from reading Spawn, I'm loving the story arc of Spawn issue number 314 through 317. I think that the Chain Gang story, the Chain Gang set, that's one of the best story arcs in my personal opinion. I did not say the best, it's one of the best story arcs in my personal opinion. But with all that being said, Spawn issue number 316, what you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And also, if you like the content we're throwing up, you know what to do. Don't be shy and don't be stingy with your boy. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, mainly Spawn, but others as well. Comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. And don't forget to check out our website, RatedComics.com, for some awesome comic books and awesome Rated comic book exclusives and ratios as well. Last but not least, this review is sponsored by coffee, so if you'd like to buy your boy a cup of coffee, link in description, or donate to the Super Thanks. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. Thank you again for watching. Until next time.